That's right. I'm triggering this thing off early, man. Happy New Year. I just got to speak. I got to get some stuff off my chest. I want to live in a world of reality. Don't you? If you're a Raider fan, reality sometimes bites. And it's never easy. I think that's why I'm such a fan. Because nothing in my life has been easy, boy, let me tell you. So I accept the challenge. I accept adversity. I want to be pushed to be better than the rest, which is what the Raiders are all about. The just win baby attitude, the commitment to excellence. Robert Pena's in the house. Good day. Good day to you, Robert. Good to see you, brother. Happy New Year to you as well, my brother. For sure. Jason, hope all is well. Brother, man, it's getting better. Nothing in life is perfect, but we just got to get up every day and just keep that fight alive. All right. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to let this intro go on much longer. I just want to get to speaking. It's Saturday. I know there's games on. A lot of people are probably watching the football games right now. So if you're watching football games and you're watching this on a replay, cool. Much love. Last week of the regular season. We got to talk about that just a little bit. I know we have no stake in the game except for one thing that I really want to focus on, which is Antonio Pierce. It sure in the hell means a lot to that man, and deservingly so. And I know that's a bit controversial to some people, and that's where this rant is going to come in, dude, because I think we need to be real with ourselves first. If we could be real with ourselves first and put ourselves in check and really have a reality session, kind of put ourselves in the corner and talk to ourselves for a little bit and actually say, what is the big picture here? What is the real deal? What's up, Ray Gonzalez? What's up, my brother? How are you, man? Raider Nation, for sure, brother. The greatness of the Raiders is in the future. One of my favorite quotes by Al himself, my brother. Well said. So here's the thing. This is the biggest talk right now, right? AP or Jim Harbaugh. That's what's all over the interwebs right now. I have literally heard people change their mind from hire the man now to, oh, whoa, wait. Maybe Jim Harbaugh is the better answer. The question remains, well, who's the best? If we had the choice, and we find out here in a week or two or more that the choice is Jim Harbaugh or AP, what's the right choice? I don't know. Neither do you. And neither does the man who has to write the check, Mark Davis. To me, there's pros and cons to both of them. And I know it's not my decision, nor is it yours. But here we go again. We live in a world today where everything has to be divided. People draw a line right down the middle of the road and they say, pick a side. You can't root for both men. You can't look at the situation and say, wow, to be honest with you, I see what AP has done. I see what he's doing. I see where we potentially could go, which we'll get into all that too. But I also see, man, there's Jim Harbaugh on the other side. His resume is no joke. No joke. We can say whatever about the man, and I've been on record to say that I don't want Jim Harbaugh based off one thing in particular. Something, and I'm not backtracking. This is my whole point, though, right? I could feel and say whatever the hell I want to. Number one, it's my channel, my airways right now, right? Thank you, YouTube, for giving me my voice. But at the end of the day, it's not my decision, man. It's not my decision. And I have a right to think a certain way. And whether Mark ever listens to what I have to say, which I know he probably don't. He probably has somebody that may have listened to me a time or two before, way back in the day, but not anymore. Who knows? Or maybe they stumble across this video wondering what the hell this old man has to say, and then they figure out, reports that Tom Brady was on the field. Tom Brady's at practice. Again, if he was all about Jim Harbaugh, why would he be at practice with Antonio Pierce? Is he getting a first-hand look? Robert Pena, AP, that's my coach. Cool. But let's be real about something. AP has had an amazing opportunity to do something most men don't get to do, and he's made the best of it. And I'm tired of the man being compared to Rich Bisaccia. It's two different scenarios, guys. It's two different scenarios. Guys that actually were defending AP are now trying to find reasons to bring the man down. Some, not all. Some, not all. Pick a side, they say. Choose. You can't want or like both. Why not? I don't make the decision and I don't write the check. So what I'm basically getting at in a long breath way, right, is if Mark Davis decides to go Jim Harbaugh over AP, we have to respect that. And we have to look at Jim Harbaugh and ask ourselves, why would Mark make that choice? And if you look at the man's resume, it makes sense. Now, I'm going to get into the first part of my rant, which is why I think, in my opinion, it could be a mistake. Could. Doesn't mean it is or it will. I'm going to stay true to what I've been saying for the past few months right here live with y'all every time I go live. It's time for the Raiders to have some serious structure in-house. I don't think Jim Harbaugh gives you that. Mark keeps trying to find people that are going to run the whole show for him when Mark needs to learn how to run the show. I'll say that again. Mark keeps trying to find coaches, mind you, that can run the whole show instead of Mark learning how to run the show himself. And I respect Mark Davis. I do. I truly do. And I know that the man is passionate. All he wants to do is just win, baby. He knows what it's like to win a championship. He's done it twice with the WNBA. He knows what it feels like. He knows what it looks like. And he wants that for the Raiders and the Raider Nation so bad. So this is not a knock on Mark Davis per se. And whether you like it or not, I think if Tom Brady was his secret advisor and in his ear, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But then give the man his just due and just make him you make him in charge of your football operations. Let him stand in there and be your CEO, and you can sit in the background, sit in your booth, drink your water, and just chill and enjoy the game. Because, you've openly admitted that you're not your father, and you don't have to be your dad. You just have to be you and put people in the right place. Now, I still think that there should be a chain of command and an honor system. And the downfall to that would be, you got to have it right all the way down. From the top down, you got to make sure that you made the right call, and then they made the right call, and then they made the right call. People are knocking Antonio Pierce, saying that, well, we don't know what he's going to do next. We don't know if it's going to be real or not real. Like, we don't know. Bo Hardegree? Dude, in what world did he ever say Bo Hardegree is going to be his offensive coordinator next year? In what world did he even say AOC will be the starting quarterback next year? Nobody knows, because nobody has that power right now. Nobody is sitting in a seat of power to make those types of decisions. Now, I will say this when it comes to AP. Let's flip it over, because you know what you're getting with Harbaugh. Harbaugh's going to come in here, and he's going to start doing what he wants to do. And look, it's not known for Jim Harbaugh to blow up this team. He's not going to start cutting people and removing people. I think he's going to restructure things around here. And right now, everybody seems to be buying into one mission, especially on the defensive side of things. I don't think Jim touches that. But does Patrick Graham want to work with Jim Harbaugh? Does Jim Harbaugh want Patrick Graham working with him? That's a big concern for me, because as a defensive guy, I've been waiting for a defense to look as good as it has the past month. For real. I think we're on to something. Now, if Patrick Graham gets a head coaching job somewhere, then so be it. I mean, I'm not going to hold anybody back in their career, but if he doesn't, I would love for the man to stay and pay him accordingly. And that's the difference. If you look across the National Football League, everybody wants the hottest offensive coordinator out there to be their head coach because offensive score points and points win games. That's the narrative that we've been dealt with for quite some time now. So everybody's like, well, what is AP? AP's never called a defense in his life. No, the guy's played a lot of defenses, though. So I would put him in the category of a defensive-minded coach. But I don't think AP considers him one or the other. I think AP just wants to be a head coach. Don't put a tag on me. I'm just a head coach. I love the Raiders, and I want the Raiders as a whole to perform a certain way and look a certain way and act a certain way. He wants to bring some of that Raider integrity back to the Raider Nation. And that's what we're excited the most. But if you base your decision based off a man who sits in the locker room and yells, Raiders, it's going to take a lot more than that. Question for most of us is, did AP do enough in these 8 games? And we'll find out the final scenario tomorrow when that final hammer drops and how these guys go out there and perform at home against the Broncos. We will know, at least from a standpoint of him having the ability to motivate people in a tough situation, yes. But that's only just the tip of the iceberg, guys. Like, honestly, for me, and this is me being real talk, because I think with AP, you most likely get Champ Kelly, and with Champ Kelly, he'll have to answer to somebody as well. And I think we at least get that part of it out of the way. And I'm only speaking from my perspective, right? At least we will have what I feel that this organization needs to be successful, which is structure, accountability, so on and so forth, right? I mean, if you agree with me on that, cool. If not, cool. It's everybody's choice. Look, I don't have to stand on either side of the line. Right now, I'm standing on the line. That's how I roll. I stand on the line because I don't make the decisions. I will react based off what Mark Davis decides to do. And then from there, I'm going to react on to whatever the coaches do after that. And I will say, if he doesn't go AP, there has to be a real reason why he didn't go AP. And then again, if the answer to that is Jim Harbaugh, as much as I may not like the fact that we continue not to have structure and we end up having a dictatorship, that may become an issue down the road. But at the same time, we actually might be winners. Jim Harbaugh has a winning pedigree, so I'm not going to be mad at it. But here's the first thing that Mark, Tom, whoever's going to be making this decision, Champ, if they give him the nod before anything else, they need to and trust me, AP's been working on this. So it's not like AP has not been working on this too, but AP has to come into that office and sit down with Mark Davis and put some paper on the table and be like, this is where we're going. This is who I've talked to. This is my offense. This is my offensive coordinator. This is going to be the quarterback we're going to go either roll with, whether it's AOC or we're going to go get this free agent in Justin Fields from Chicago, or we may look at this guy or that guy, or no, we're going all in and we're going to draft this dude. This is our 3 main. I mean, I don't want you to come in and tell me Jaden Daniels is your guy. No, I want you to come in and this is how I would do it. I want 3 quarterbacks that are coming out in the draft. I want you to give me 3 names. Then I want you to do everything you can to get one of those 3 names if that's what you truly believe in. But you can only do that if your offensive coordinator is on board and it matches, right? So there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, and that's why I lean against Jim Harbaugh, even though that he's good with quarterbacks. I just want some structure and some accountability down the pipeline. But AP has to bring something to the table at this point. Is he getting Patrick Graham back? Did he get Patrick Graham's nod? Did Patrick Graham tell AP, if I don't get a head coaching job, I want to be your defensive coordinator if the job is yours? If that has been said, that's a big win in my book. The other question, obviously, the biggest question in the room would be, who is his offensive coordinator? What kind of offense are you trying to run? Who's going to be your quarterback? Those are some big questions, and the whole who's your quarterback is a big asterisk because, no one has a crystal ball to see how the draft's going to play out or free agency at this moment, but you have to have a plan. And the cool part about a guy like Antonio Pierce is, and I've heard some channels knock him for this, right? Oh, yeah, he's never done it before. He's doing it now. He's given Bo Hardegree, okay, the ability to take something that wasn't his, reconstruct it to see if this offense could respond. And at times it looks and sometimes it looks really bad. Okay? Bo Hardegree is probably not your answer. But you have the ability to go out there and pay a coordinator. Like most offensive coordinators are the head coach. So you pay extra for that. And then they bring somebody in to kind of help them run the show, but they don't call the plays. No, in this case, AP will be going out and trying to find somebody who's innovative, who's young, or experienced. And if the person's experienced and you have to pay him, you're going to pay him close to head coach money to be an offensive coordinator. Because AP's not going to be making that money. It's an opportunity to have the best on one side, the best on the other, and their only job is to be coordinators. Think about that. For the first time in a very long time, we will have an offensive coordinator who's, well, since Jack Del Rio, but defensive coordinator as well. Influenced by a man who's in charge of the whole thing as the head coach, who will hold you accountable for your job and what you have said you're going to produce. He's going to hold you accountable to what you presented to him. And then his job is to make sure that you do yours and that these players are ready to go each and every Sunday, which he's already proven he's really, really good at. But I ain't hiring AP unless he brings to the table something you can't say no to. And that's fair. And if AP cannot produce something on paper and present it to you and say, this is the way it should be, and you're looking at it and you get a little cold feet, there's nothing wrong with that. And as Raider fans, we have to be ready to accept that. If there's no Raiders, then there's no Raiders. There has to be a reason. And if that answer is Jim Harbaugh, yeah, I'm going to be skeptic until I'm not. Until if that's the case, if Jim comes in, I'm going to have to accept it, dude. He's a Raider, dude. I got his back. He's going to run the show. He's going to make the calls. And as long as he makes the right ones and we start winning again, I think the things that I don't like about it will fade. Will fade. Just like Al said way back in the day, I just want to win, baby. I don't care in the long run what it truly, truly looks like, as long as the response and the end result is W's. I don't care. Doesn't mean I don't have an opinion. And that's where I'm at. Like, everybody wants to draw, so the question is, what about this week? What about the Broncos? We can get into that too, but I know this topic means more than what we're going to do tomorrow. It truly is. Like, tomorrow's nothing, right? We want to see us in strong. We want to go and beat the Broncos. We want to keep them undefeated there in Las Vegas against the Broncos. All that kind of matters to me, but at the end of the day, that's not taking us anywhere. That's not taking us into the future. Beating the Broncos tomorrow doesn't solidify nothing. So, but we could talk about it. I think what's more important is what next year is going to look like. And my biggest message, my biggest part of this rant and why I'm kind of fired up is I'm tired of it. Like, everything in this world is divided, dude. Everything, religion, politics, schools, genders, race. I mean, we can go in. This is not a political show or anything. I'm just using it as an example to say, man, in this country today, we can't talk about anything open-minded wise. Like, everything has to have cut and dry. You're on this side of the fence, or you're on, you can't just stand in the middle and be like, well, why can't I like what produces? Because I'm definitely not the man who gets to choose. I don't get to choose who's going to be the next head coach. All I could decide is how I feel after they start doing their job, right? I was the same way with Josh McDaniels. I told you, I didn't hate, dude. By the 4th week, I was done. And there's a rant on this channel with the same thumbnail. You can go check it out. I got pissed. I was done. I was like, this is a joke. It was a joke. And we handled it as such. So, with that said, what do you guys think? I'm going to get into the chat. It's time for you guys to take over. I need to catch my breath, regather myself, and let's see what everybody's saying. All right, Robert Pena, AP's my guy. Ray Gonzalez, does Mark Davis listen to his players? Of course he does. Or to his advisors, ... question mark. Does Davis spend that cash on a top tier coach or players? Well, Ray, there's a lot into that, right? And I would start off by saying, whatever he pays the coach doesn't affect what he pays players. We have a cap, that's based off his bank account. But does he pay for a top tier coach? I mean, if he feels that this, again, I know you in Vegas, but is it worth the third gamble in a row? And I know John Gruden got forced out. That wasn't Mark's choice to get rid of John at the time. And there is a big asterisk to whether or not the team would have been just as successful with John as they were with Rich. We don't know that answer, to be honest with you. We can only go off of what we feel on that one, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't reach at John Gruden either. But then you made the worst decision by bringing McDaniels in. Now, everybody could say, I knew it. No, you hated McDaniels because he was a Patriot and a Bronco. If Josh McDaniels would have came in here and had been half worth anything and actually got us to the playoff, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be like, yeah, he's figuring it out, right? I mean, that's the honest truth. But after a year and a half, we noticed, hey, yeah, this guy's not it. Now let's tip our caps to Mark Davis for recognizing that and spending the money to get out of that to put us in this situation now, and just hope that he makes the right decision. So the other part of your question is, does he listen to his players? Yes, he does. But he can't let his players make the decision. He listens. And I think that's one of the main reasons why McDaniels got fired. But if Mark bases his decision based off what the players say, he's doing it wrong as well. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these guys are still gaining their experiences as NFL football players, and they're not in a position to make those type of decisions. They're going off emotion. Hey, this guy lets him blast music, smoke cigars, and just be free. And it's working, and I'm not putting that down. It's just, of course, they're going to say, we love this guy, right? When AP took over, they had a chance, and they had a chance each and every week, but they weren't playing for the playoffs. They were playing for the man, and at the end of the day, Mark has to base it off whatever AP, like I said, he has to base his decision based off whatever AP presents at the end of the season. What's the future look like with AP? All right. PA Beats is what I'll call it. We haven't had a GM actually doing GM things since Reggie McKenzie, which is a fact, brother. Fact. It's time to let the GMs do GM things and let the coaches coach. And I agree with you 100%. And that's why I'm leaning more towards like, again, I don't get to make the decisions. That's why I want AP. Because I think if you get AP, that means you get a GM, that maybe you get someone in charge of football operations, and then there's a chain of command, there's integrity, there's accountability, and I think that can take us a lot further. Let's look at the Steelers. Does Mike Tomlin get to call all the shots over there? I'm sure he has a lot to say after all these years, but there's something to say when you have structure. It takes a very special person to have it all. Raider Suede, hola, ¿cómo estás, my brother? Raider Suede, we need Harbaugh. He's the smartest choice. Based off what? Okay, I'm with you, Suede. When this, like I said, you can make arguments both sides. No one's going to win the argument at this point because you got to wait till that person's hired and he produces. But if you look at Harbaugh's resume, okay. He took Stanford over, revamped that school, right? And it's very hard to win in Stanford. Did he win a national championship? No, but he built a winning program at Stanford, which is very hard to do, and he did it. He took over the Niners within 3 years. They were in the AFC Championship twice and the Super Bowl once. Yes, they lost. He lost to his brother. I get it. But that's not something you gawk at, dude. That's something huge. Then he leaves, he goes to Michigan, and now they're playing in the national championship, but he's done a lot of great, everywhere he goes, he's a winner. I saw him with you. It's the smartest choice if you base it off the resume. It's the same reason why we see Kansas City doing it with Andy Reid. Did the Kansas City Chiefs ownership look at that and be like, well, he has a great record in Philly, but he made it to the Super Bowl but lost, so I don't know if we should let this guy coach. No, he's still a good coach. Andy Reid was still a winning coach. They brought him in, and now they got 2 Super Bowls. And now he's probably towards the end of his career, in my opinion, but the same with Sean Payton, right? So, again, you can make the argument for Harbaugh. You can definitely make the argument for Harbaugh. Also, Swade's also saying, if we hire AP, and he brings a good OC, fact, a team can poach that. And I have an answer for this because I thought of the same thing, and I get it, but we can't live in fear, right? If he brings in a good OC, someone else, another team could poach that from us every year, right? If they wanted to, meaning that offensive coordinator become a head coach, right? But how often does that tend to work out? And depending on what type of offense, I mean, if you're telling me AP is going to bring us an offensive coordinator that's going to have our offense and we have Patrick Graham, I mean, if that's the case, right? Hypothetically speaking, because that's what we're speaking anyway, Patrick Graham, AP, and an offensive coordinator that turns this offense into a high-powered offense that can't be stopped, I'm buying it. Because just to win one Super Bowl is really hard. And there's no guarantees that offensive coordinator, a la Josh McDaniels and all his what his resume looks like, doesn't mean he's going to go on and be crap. And you got to have confidence that at some point you're going to be lining up guys that want to come be an offensive coordinator for your organization. And I'll say this, and when I talk about wanting someone to run the football operations part, a GM, and a head coach and what have you, the idea for me, and again, this is all my thoughts hypothetically, you want a coaching staff, an organization that's thinking outside the box and is saying, hey, you know what? If you're going to be our offensive coordinator, we want you to have an assistant offensive coordinator that you're building up to keep this thing running. Period. Or you go and find that veteran that's already had the head coach opportunities and he's like, cool, I just want to be a coordinator. They exist. Salute my brother Raider John's in the house. Salute, brother. Much love. Let's see. Raider John, what's good? You know what's good, man. It's that last bit of the puzzle before we start getting into off season and things starts to get real crazy around here. J.O.'s in the house. 12 seasons of total failure, and here we are starting completely over. Worst of the day Al died. Well, sorry, worse off than the day Al died. J.O., this needs to be the moment for you, for your argument and your stance, which you know I believe in, and I stand by you when you say these things, right? You know I do. But there has to be a day where we turn the corner. And I hope for your sanity and mine too, brother, that this is the moment where this could change either way. And again, my own, I got two concerns on both sides, right? I don't know what AP is going to bring to the table. I don't know what he's going to present and how that could sway Davis or Brady, whoever's making the decisions at that time, or Champ Kelly, part of that scenario as well. And I can't necessarily say, because we know that if Harbaugh's the guy, he's going to have all this control, and we don't know how that's going to turn out. So again, and I'm used to this, I go into things blind all the time. Yes, that's a pun on myself, and it's okay. So I'm going to ride it out, J.O., like I always do. But you're right, it's been 12 years of this crap. But at some point, we have to turn the corner. We just do. Let's see. Raider John, thanks. So J.O.'s telling Raider John, thanks for keeping us from going crazy all these years. Raider John has some of the best rants you'll ever watch on YouTube. Nobody but us Raiders fans could survive this dysfunctional. Still Raider Nation, all day, every day. Raider Pena, and Raider John. We got D Nightwalkers in the house. What's up, D Nightwalker? Raider, sounding like AP himself coming here, letting it all out. Raider Suede, finally, someone says it. They never liked him. Crying face. He sucks. He's what's made everyone say, I knew it. Let's see. Raider Suede. Let's see. He's a proven winner. Fact. He's fact. Every season he's coached. He's coaching over 500. He's playing in big games. He may lose some, he may win some, but again, let's look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, for example, right? Mike Tomlin His job has been on the line all season long. Now it looks like they're going to the playoffs again. Once again, he's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh, ever. Is that crazy? As a Raider fan, I'll take that all day. Because if you look at the history of the NFL, not too many real true dynasties, right? You got the Niners in the 80s. You had the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. You consider them a dynasty. And then you got the Patriots. And one comes around every so often. And it looks like Kansas City is on the brink of that, possibly. And we sure in the hell got to find a way to stop that, number one. Number two, I mean, how long can Andy Reid last? And what does it look like when Andy Reid is gone? And so on and so forth. Andy Reid is not in the best of health, right? So, again, you have to design an organization. It's an organizational thing more than it is a coaching thing, is what I'm getting at, okay? We need to build this organization in a way where it has structure, integrity, and vision. And that's coming from a blind man. How do you like that? But structure, integrity, and vision, develop it, trust in the system, and work it. And that's what they've done in Pittsburgh for nearly what? God, since the 60s? Insane. 6 decades? Are you kidding me? 3 coaches? Insane, bro. I don't care who you are. That shows that's an organizational thing, not a coaching thing. Think about that a little bit. Yes, you need coaches to coach. But if you build the right structure and you put the right people in place and you have a system set out, you got to find those pieces. Not easy. But if we think that we're going to bring in Jim Harbaugh and win 4 Super Bowls, that's not guaranteed either. Plenty of great head coaches that never won a Super Bowl. D. Nightwalker. At this point, I'm so happy. Whoop, damn it. Hold on. I am so happy with the culture that AP is building. Fact that I'm willing to give him a few years to build. And I brought this up too. I'm going to talk about this. I'll use this for that. To build the Raiders' identity, even if it's just a couple of years. Months. One and out of the year of the playoffs. 1 and out in the playoffs. Look, D. Nightwalker, you hit on something very interesting, right? If this is what I said at the beginning of the show, right? If we base it off Antonio Pierce being in the locker room yelling, Raider, look, that's all fun. But that's all fan fluff, dude. I'm just being real, right? I don't care about him yelling Raiders. I don't care about him coming from Compton. I don't care what kind of shoes he wears, and I don't care what kind of car he drives. Do we like the attitude? Do we like the swagger? Do we like the fact that he recognizes who we are as a fan base? Dude, 100%. But I promise you, none of that wins us football games. None of it. That's the fluff that he gives us. But we have won some games based off the fact that he gets these guys to play up, to believe in themselves, to believe in each other, to come together as a team, yada, yada, all the good motivational crap I could throw out there right now AP brings to the table. But that can't be the reason now. Could it make a big difference? 100%, but we can't base our decision off that. That's all I'm saying. It's obviously paid a big difference, but we need that to sustain for a long period of time. And I believe that we will. And I believe that he can. So, I mean, he has my vote of confidence. I'm just saying that we have to keep certain things in perspective. And the fact that he yells Raiders and comes from Compton and talks about the NWA and all that stuff, look, that culture really, L.A. took it off, but it started in Oakland. We all know where it started from. And again, it needs to be an organizational thing. Organizational thing. That's my stand. Okay, that's what I'm up here preaching. It goes deeper than AP. It's got to be Champ Kelly. It's got to be Mark Davis. I guess it's got to be Tom Brady, right? Why does everybody hate the Patriots? Because they win. Why were we so against McDaniels when it started falling apart and when people started talking the Patriot way? Because that ain't the Raider way. Why is everybody on the fence and real skeptical about Tom Brady? Can you think about, Tom Brady didn't run to the Patriots, right? And I know why we mostly hate Tom Brady, by the way. The tuck rule. We all know it. But honestly, did Tom Brady have anything to do with that besides being the quarterback in that game? No. But I'll be the first one to tell you that Tom Brady hasn't done shit for the Raiders. Nothing. The man has done nothing. Tom Brady hasn't earned his right to get our respect from the position he's trying to stand on right now, too. Ray Gonzalez. Give AP a real chance. A lot of the pieces are in place. AOC or a more middle or a more mobile quarterback. That's a whole other conversation we got to have. And I've been watching a lot of tape, by the way. I'm not ready to get all into that with y'all, but trust me, I've been watching and I've come to a certain conclusion with that too. More callbacks for the offense needs to get on track, and it will. Look, that's the first thing. That's the biggest thing that got blown up in this whole transaction. Then we can truly compete. Max and Tay want stability, and I get it, but you don't get stability, Ray, with an interim head coach who's only been this as his first year as a Raider. That doesn't scream stability. But yes, I'm with you. I want him to have a chance, but you can't just give him the crown now. Is Patrick Graham coming back? Because Patrick Graham's a huge part of why we're winning as well. Not that AP didn't put his foot into that mix and allow him to be a different guy and give him the confidence that maybe McDaniels didn't to do what he's doing as well. But even before McDaniels was gone, this defense was playing at a better level, right? So Patrick Graham is a huge part of this as well. You lost McDaniels. You lost every bit of the offense structure except for Bo Hardigree, and nobody wanted the offensive structure the way that it was set, so you have to use it and tweak it. So, of course, the offense is going to struggle, which don't bow well for Bo. It doesn't go well for Bo, right? But what does the future look like? Mark has to take that in consideration. I said the same thing about Rich Bisaccia. No Gruden. You're going to run with Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen at that point starts to implement his own thing. The defense wasn't playing hot. You're going to, Rich Bisaccia, the nice guy that he is he going to continue that trend and just keep these people around because of what? Yeah. Like, so we don't know, right? We don't know what Rich Bisaccia brought to the table, and then he went sexy pick, right? He went McDaniels, and we all know the story from there. And he's definitely going to look at this much differently than he probably did the Rich Bisaccia scenario, in which he should. But again, I challenge AP, and AP has been thinking about this because he's already brought in Tom Coughlin, Herm Edwards. He brought in guys that he can converse with, talk about probably other people around the league that he could bring in to help and give him an identity. And because what he's doing, we all agree that what AP has done and what he's doing and the energy he brings to the football team is working. But it's working with Patrick Graham. If you lose Patrick Graham, what do? What does Herm say about that? Right? So we have to let a lot of things play out. A lot of things got to play out for us to understand whether or not AP should have the shot that we feel he should fully have. The smoke hasn't cleared yet. Let all the pieces fall into place and go from there. That is my rant. And we don't have to pick now. As a fan base, we don't have to pick a side and say, screw the other guy. We have to have open minds too. And the only difference is we don't get the opportunity to sit in those rooms and see what they're presenting, right? And hopefully they tell the truth when they come out. Raiders Laws. Good morning, brother. Hype only goes so far. We need experience. Well, there's experience there and someone who can win and know how to manage. And again, that's one thing that that Harbaugh will bring 100%, right? But AP is in a very early opportunity. Yeah, it might be a lot of hype, but he's got the attention of the people on his staff. He's got the attention of the locker room. But you're right. What I'm taking from what you're saying, Raider Laws, right, is he needs that supporting cast. It really is about the pieces around him coaching wise. Again, that's why I say Patrick Graham is key to all this, in my opinion. You lose Patrick Graham, now you need a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator. The bottom of this thing could fall out really quick. But in AP's defense, like I said, Tom Coughlin, Herm Edwards, they're there mentoring him. They're his advisors, and they're probably helping him put a list together of who he could bring in certain types of scenarios. D. Nightwalker, is there a way to get way to get rid of Jimmy, draft a quarterback, and bring a veteran quarterback? Yes, there is. Just asking because if AOC doesn't improve and the new quarterback fails, we would be screwed in 2024. Well, let's be honest. Like, every time a new year starts, there's an opportunity. So again, 2024, is there an opportunity for the Raiders to make the playoffs? 100%. Does that mean there's an opportunity for us to make the Super Bowl? Yes, 100%. Does that mean that this team will be ready for that to happen? No, especially if you look at our situation, right? We don't know who our head coach is going to be. We don't know who our defensive coordinator is going to be. And we don't know who our offensive coordinator is going to be. We don't know who our quarterback is going to be, and we need one. AOC has not shown me personally anything that I go in next season banking on AOC to be the guy. So to your question, is there a way for us to get rid of Jimmy G? Yeah, you just cut him. You suck the money up, dude. It is what it is. Can you go get a veteran at that point to help bridge the gap and challenge AOC? Yeah, if that presents itself, and whoever's the head coach, the GM, and the offensive coordinator come together and be like, hey, this would be a good bridge guy. Let's bring him in. Because I know one of those people have been talked about is Justin Fields, right? Should you go get that guy? If they're trading him and the price is right, 3rd round pick would be my highest pick I would do, because we still need other things. We need offensive linemen for sure. We may need another running back, right? And I still say we possibly need a cornerback to round stuff out. We could talk about all this. We'll talk more about next coming months, so to speak. Obviously, before we hit free agency, right? There's a lot to cover, but we need other things. But yes, it's possible. You just have to cut the money and eat the money from Jimmy. You just do. I think I heard someone talking about Harbaugh working with Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, do I think Jimmy could thrive under Jim Harbaugh? Yeah, if he wasn't so damn old and his arm looked noodled. Just my opinion. I don't think Jimmy showed the physicality, not so much the potential as what he's done in the past or what he's capable of doing. I just think his time has come. So yeah, you cut Jimmy, you go see if you can get that veteran quarterback. And I still say that if I was Champ Kelly or whoever's going to be running this organization, like, you can't just settle for Caleb Williams, Drake May. You can't just settle for your top 3, whoever the world thinks is the top 3 coming out of college. There's probably close to 10 quarterbacks. Now the further you go back, the more work needs to be done with these quarterbacks. And that cutoff is, to me, from what I've watched so far, little glimpse into what I'm putting together, the number stops at 6. If you're looking for a guy that could manage something, not even be spectacular in year 1, very rarely does anybody come in here and be spectacular like that year 1. But there's a lot of talented quarterbacks with big arms and great mobility. And most of them that I watched, they don't run first. They're always looking to throw. So very intriguing, and we'll get into that as this goes on. I really want to see what type of coach they bring in, what type of offensive coordinator to come in before we start narrowing down how aggressive they're going to be for the quarterback position. But yeah, there's a lot that can happen in the quarterback situation, brother. You just need somebody to come in and make those hard decisions. Let's see. Keep AP is working the same. People. Okay, let me see. I don't know if I read this one or no. I know I didn't. Chaos Raider, what's up, Chaos? Let's see. My thing is that if we do keep AP as coach, and if the program is not working the same, people who want him as coach are going to be are going to be the ones calling for his head. And that is one of the best statements of the show thus far, because that's the reality of the world we live in, bro. Right? And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying look, I don't believe in that. Right? If you're one of those guys right now, because again, if Mark Davis takes a stand 2 weeks from now and says AP is the guy, I'm on board. If he comes out and he says John Harbaugh is the guy, I'm still going to be on board, but I'm going to have a lot more questions on the structure of this organization and how it's going to function moving forward. That's my only complaint. It's been my only complaint since McDaniels got fired. It was one of my pros that I was banking on when this whole regime changed over and we had Ziegler and we had McDaniels, and I was sold a bag of shit. And I'm finding out now that it was a hot mess. We didn't know who was the boss. Even if Mark gave the power to Ziegler and it was Ziegler's power, I think Ziegler was inferior to McDaniels, and McDaniels talked down to him and he gave in to McDaniels. That's just as much that's more on Ziegler than McDaniels, but nevertheless, no real structure in the organization. A bunch of pile of crap. That's what we had. I don't want to see that happen again. And it's not fair for me to sit here and say Harbaugh can't do it because we don't know if he can or can't. And if it starts to fall apart, we all should call for his head. Right? And I don't care if you want to take the stand and say it's AP, nobody, that's my guy. But then, like you're saying, if he fails, they're going to be the ones saying, get him out of here. Get him out of here. There ain't nothing wrong with that either. If you're taking a stand and saying AP is the guy and you're not calling for his head when it falls apart, then that's probably the biggest issue, right? But again, you can't put somebody up and then change your mind. I get what you're saying. It's just we all should be fair-minded. Regardless if it's AP or Harbaugh, we should take it with a grain of salt, and they have to earn it regardless. Regardless. You can have your favorite, and that's why I'm saying don't pick AP just because he yells Raiders, drives a cool car, and is from Compton and grew up a Raider fan. That's not that can't be the reason we bring him on. Raider John, everybody is like, go with Jim Harbaugh, stick with AP. I'm pretty confident in either one or in either decision. Me too. I mean, granted, I think I understand the argument for Harbaugh because he has a longer, more successful resume, and you have to respect that. But it also comes at a cost. However, if we go any other direction other than these two, this is a Raider John dropping some knowledge right now, I'm going to lose my effing mind. And I can't wait to see that video if it does happen, brother. Let me just start off by saying that. I would love to see you go off if that happens, but I agree. I think it's fair to say, right? Speculations aside, it's either AP or Harbaugh, and I'm cool with that, right? I like one more than the other because I think there's more longevity in building an organization that has structure, accountability, integrity. I think that will give us success long-term. Stop looking for championships to be the measuring stick. You want to win some along the way, but you first got to start winning games. You got to bring a winning culture back to this organization. I believe it starts with structure and accountability. I do. That's my personal opinion. I'm not writing the check, so my opinion don't mean shit. We could sit here and talk about it all day, but at the end of the day, what does it really mean, right? So with that said, I agree with you, John. Like, if you think AP is not the full answer yet, then you go get Harbaugh. You pay the man what he wants to get paid, and you bring someone that could bring in a winning culture to this organization. But if you don't pay Harbaugh and that's not what you go and you give up on AP, don't bring back Gruden. Don't. We don't need the headache. It does in these type of businesses where there's we're talking billions of dollars here, right? There's going to be no right or wrong at this point. It's a monopoly. And if you're an owner, you're an owner. I'll win against the monopoly. I'm not saying he's wrong for going against Rozelle. I'm not. The man stood up for what he believed in. It gave us our identity. He won some Super Bowls in the process. But since 1983, the season of 1983, June 22nd, 1984 is when we won our last Super Bowl. If you want to go off that date, right? If we go off that date and we start looking forward, then we say, look, after that, the league has been at our throats for 40 years. 40 years. Don't keep poking the bear. Don't keep starting a fire. I'm not saying bow down to the man. I'm not saying that. But hiring Gruden right now is not the wise choice. You got to let that smoke fully clear. At the end of the day, none of these guys work out and you want to bring John back, I'm cool. But right now, too soon, brother. Too soon. You have two great opportunities right now. Stick to that. Put one foot in front of the other. It's not a foot race. It's not who gets there faster, who gets there smarter and can bring longevity to our situation. That's what we need. It's what we've always needed. Me and Fan, Raiders, if Jim Harbaugh, head coach, is going to rebuild, not necessarily. No, there's no 100% guarantee he rebuilds. AP is not. I'm one AP. Okay, I'll help break that down for you, brother, because I know what you're saying. You're saying if Jim Harbaugh is going to come in and rip this thing and rebuild it, you'd rather go with AP. You want AP because it's already structured. He likes the players. He's not going to. Trust me, there's players out there right now that are on this organization that AP can't wait to get rid of. Take that for note and what it is, because he's the type of coach that's good. He's going to build people up. He's not going to break people down. So there will be some changes even with AP, right? But AP is not going to blow this whole thing up and rebuild it, right? They were winning. The culture changed. We have competitiveness. So we like that. There's no guarantee that Jim Harbaugh does the same. Jim Harbaugh didn't blow up the Niners when he got there. He just took what was there and actually made it better. He turned Alex Smith into a winning quarterback. He changed him over. Colin Kaepernick, regardless if he couldn't hit the side of a barn, went to a Super Bowl, AFC Championship. It wasn't until Jim Harbaugh left that guy's career took a tank. So again, I think Jim Harbaugh comes in here. He'll respect the talent that's here. In fact, I think Jim Harbaugh would appreciate, especially from an offensive perspective, right, that there's a lot of weapons here, that there's something special here. If the contracts are already built, then don't push the narrative. Keep it. You think you want to get rid of a Devontae, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker? We have a lot to talk about Josh Jacobs. I know everybody, Zeus has a couple of good games and everybody says, let Jacobs walk. Look, if AP gets the nod, Jacobs has a really good shot of coming back and at the right price. So I hope that I read that message right for you, brother. Lafayette's in the house. What's up? Knight, what up, brother? What's up with you, man? All right, Just Win Baby podcast is in the house. What's going on, brother? This is my first time in. This is my first time in here on your channel. Thank you for being here. It just popped up. First time here on your channel, just popped up. Well, I'm glad it popped up, and I'm glad you're here, brother. I hope you hit that subscribe button, man. I appreciate you. Just Win Baby, are you on Instagram? Yeah, there might be an Instagram from back in the day. I'm definitely on X. I'll share a little bit about that here in just a second. Since you brought it up, I'll bring it. Are you on X? Got a channel? I can DM you the link. Yeah. Let's see. So you're better off if you have X to hit me up there. I believe I'm under Night Live still on there. It might be at the Will to Win too on there. Will number 2 win still is on there. You can find me on X for sure. I just put a post up on X for the first time in a long time, man. And it wasn't Raider related. So, shout out to my boy, Joe Arrigo. If you guys don't know, follow Joe Arrigo. He's part of Franchise Sports Media. He covers all kinds of sports in Las Vegas, high school, college, all of that. He's been on the channel years ago. He's great. I'm probably going to see if I can hook up with him. I'd love for him to come on and get his draft knowledge. He's really good at it. He's been doing it for years. He runs an operation with TQ. So if you guys don't know who those are, Joe shared it. But it's basically, man, I'm going back on my mission. You guys know I just got back from Florida, independently blind, my mission to educate, advocate, motivate, and inspire those dealing with loss. I'm going back to Florida next November. I'm taking donations. I got to raise up $4,000. So no subscriptions here, no memberships. I'm going to leave that out. If you want to support me in anything that I do, if you go to my X page, Twitter page, what have you, there's a link there. If you guys want to donate to help the cause, I would appreciate it. No forcing. I just throwing it out there. If I don't throw it out there, it ain't going to happen, right? What X? Twitter. It'd be under Night Live. You can find me under Night Live or the Will to Win. Will number 2 win. I think that's still the header under the bottom. If not, it's Night Live. You'll see the same logo with my face, with the shield and 2 lightsabers going through the head. But thank you, Just Win, baby. You can DM me there. I'll definitely follow through. All right. You know what, man? I think it's been good. I want to just, before we get out of here, I got 25 likes, 19 of you still watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I don't know if I made anybody mad. Hey, I'm just going to keep it real, dude. Like, again, I'm not here for the money. I'm not here for the money. I'm here for the support. I'm here for the support of my cause, my mission, which I said is my independently blind project. If you guys want to follow over there, I'm getting ready to drop some videos next week about the kids that I work with and how independently blind has already impacted them. And that was just our first 6 months doing independently blind. And then, obviously my trip to Florida means a lot. It helps. It's inspired a lot of them. And me and Kenny, if you guys watch back a few other shows, Kenny's my partner. He's my best friend in this, dude. We're both losing our sight. We both get it. We both went to Florida. We're both running independently blind. We're both trying to change lives. Kenny will be on here. Kenny's going to be on here a lot with me as well. But we want to go back. Kenny's met somebody in another foundation that I'm hopefully going to go to in June. I just had surgery, for who don't know, so I got to get over that surgery part first. I can start training again. But again, man, any type of support you want to give this channel, it all goes to independently blind anyway. So if you guys really, truly want to support what goes on here, then please, head on over to Twitter. You guys will see that link. If you follow me on Facebook, I have a Facebook post there, and I'll post it and I'll bring it up. It's going to be, I'm not looking to make the money today. So we got up until technically, I think September, but I want to raise money for this foundation. They support independently blind. We support them, and it's a great thing. But Kenny got somebody he met that's low vision, that's blind, that's going up with us this next time, and we're going to support. That's what we do. We go, we help train, we help support, and we go do and help you through the process. So heading back up there. So again, when you guys want to support, I appreciate it. All right, let's talk a little Broncos before we bounce out of here. All right, what does this really mean? Well, what you're going to see, in my opinion, what we're going to see tomorrow is you're going to see a team putting its last-ditch efforts to look at Mark and point at AP and say, this is our guy. This is our guy. I watched a video, and you guys will probably know by just what I talk about what is happening here. But honestly, dude, I literally watched this channel where they're trying to downplay the fact that they love AP. Mind-boggling, and I know why they do it, and I'm not going to get into it because I don't do that. I support and respect everybody's opinion. I do. Talking about how the players said the same thing about McDaniels when questioned and asked as well. And yes, hello, if you're living under a rock, that's the way this stuff works, man. No player is going to bite the hand that feeds him. No player in the middle of a season is going to come out and say they hate their head coach. It's never worked well for a player to do so. So everybody who said, I love and respect Josh, they might respect and love him as a person, but they did not like him or love him as a coach. And you know how you know? Actions speak louder than words. And since Josh has been gone, this has been a whole different locker room. So yes, they did not love Josh, even though they said they did. When they say they love AP, I believe they love AP. Look at the locker room stuff. It's night and day. They truly love AP. Now, that doesn't mean that AP should be the guy just because the players love him, because that could get out of hand. And I think AP is the kind of guy that keeps that under control. But I'm just saying, you don't hire a coach because people like him. That's why they didn't go with Bisaccia. And I still say that wasn't necessarily the wrong move because we don't know what Rich Bisaccia brought in to say who was going to be on his staff. AP still has to go out there and prove who he's going to bring in to support him from a coaching perspective. and a vision, total vision, right? Offense, defense, special teams, the whole nine has to be in line with who. This is why I say structure and accountability and integrity is more important right now than anything else. That has to be decided. That has to be decided from Mark, the office of pro sport, their football operations. They have to decide that. They have to instill that into whoever's going to be the GM, which we're hoping it's all Champ Kelly. And then that has to filter down from the coach, and the whole organization has to be on the same page. That's how you sustain success. So again, I expect to see a team fighting for a guy and getting him 5 wins. 5 wins, 4 losses is what they want to give AP as a present, period. And it's the Broncos. Anybody us wanting to lay down and give it up to the Broncos is off base, is off track, man. We can't do it. We have to continue to beat the Broncos over the head at home. It just has to be. I don't want nothing else. I accept nothing else. Nothing else. D. Nightwalker. Don't know. I kind of feel that Harbaugh might choose the Chargers. And I forgot to even bring that part up, and I was going to talk about that, right? Because of Justin Herbert. Possibility. Makes it more attractive. Does it make it more attractive than him having the ability to pick the next guy, a young guy that he can mold from the get? I think they go hand in hand. I think it's equal, if I had to say, than the Raiders' job. So, I think Justin Herbert intrigues him, but I think the fact that he could go out and even get J.J. Arrington, a guy that he's been coaching for 4 years, I think he could do something with that as well. I think Harbaugh is the type of guy that knows that he could take any quarterback and work with them as long as they have the certain skill sets. Like I said, he turned Alex Smith around in 1 year. But I wanted to say this too, right? It's something to think about. And I hope this is not, just like I say, you can't give AP the job based off what players think. We can't give Jim Harbaugh the job necessarily because we don't want the Chargers. But you have to take that in consideration, right? You got AP who's trying to make his name for himself, which, each generation needs to produce a new coaching tree, right? Something else has to come along to replace the old, right? And all 3 of these guys are old. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh are from a different era. AP is the beginning of a new era. You got to take that in consideration. But if we go AP and Harbaugh does go to the Chargers, this division gets real quick. Because every positive thing that we could say about Jim Harbaugh is going to transfer over to the Chargers. So it's definitely something we got to think about. Robert Torres, do you think AP don't get the head coaching job? Will he walk or stay on staff? I like that question. Here's the thing. If he doesn't get the job, is it his choice? Do you think Jim Harbaugh signs a contract if Mark or whoever's hiring him says, I don't care what you do, AP has to be here? That Jim Harbaugh ain't going to sign off on that. He's going to want AP to rule the nest. And think about this. Would you want to be a guy like Jim Harbaugh coming into a situation where you're the man and the locker room loves your linebackers coach? Or are you going to put everything on him to be your defensive coordinator and earn his keep, knowing that they're playing for this man and not you? That's the biggest problem with interim head coaches is that exactly. When you have, like what Rich Bisaccia did, he won the locker room over. AP's done the same thing. They can't stay. They either get the job or they got to go. If AP don't get the job, he probably has to go and wait for his opportunity to come back around. And that sucks. But it's the reality. Fire Bro, Knight, what's up, brother? Hello, nation. Fire Bro's in the house. Much love, brother. Thank you for being here. So there's a lot to think about, a lot to unravel. We got to see where the brain trusts of the Raider organization is going to go. Who's making decisions? What decision are they going to make? Hell, bro, I wish I had the answer to that. This video would be a lot easier to make if we already knew that answer. But I will say this, and I wholeheartedly, truly believe this, right? as good as Jim Harbaugh's resume is, as intriguing as it would be to bring in a big marquee guy into Las Vegas, which I know is going to be weighing on Mark. He's proven that in the past. You know, until it's clear who's truly advising Mark Davis in this situation. Because if it's Tom Brady, you got to put that checkbox in the Jim Harbaugh side, right? But reports saying that Tom Brady's at practice, he's getting firsthand of what AP is all about. This could make or break Tom Brady as an advisor, for real. But in all honesty, seriously, man, as we head into the last week of the National Football League season for 2023, it's AP's job to lose still, in my opinion. He goes out there, he smacks the donkeys, he gets a win. The next step is for him to present himself to Mark Davis and his advisor or advisors, right? With a clear-cut, honest-to-God plan that makes sense. Defensive coordinator. Hey, AP, if you watch this, brother, first thing you got to do is get Patrick Graham to sign on wholeheartedly if he doesn't get a head coaching job somewhere else. To me, that is so key to all of this, dude. I think Patrick Graham and AP connection is real. It's real strong, real strong. Not to say we can't do the same without him. It's just much easier and better and gives us more hope if Patrick Graham's on board. But again, I say that to say to y'all, we have to keep that in focus. We have to understand that that's a big and major part of what we're dealing with here. It's not about Raiders. It's not about him screaming Raiders after every game on the field to the media. Freaking love that, dude. It makes us feel like we're there with him, right? We love that. As a fan base, we love that. Us as a fan base, us connecting with the coach in that way is not going to win us championships. That's not going to get us to the playoffs. What's going to get it to the playoffs is AP's personality, his swag, his believing in players, but having the proper coordinators on either side of him that can help him get there. That's probably the most important, if you ask my opinion. The most important. And we don't know what that looks like yet. We don't know who he keeps, who goes, or who he has planned to bring in here. All we know is he's a Herm Edwards guy and a Tom Coughlin guy. You want to do some research? Go look up those gentlemen, find out more about those two coaches, who was on their staff, what is their philosophies, because these are the Antonio Pierce advisors that are advising him right now. They've already been in our organization. Both those men, Tom Coughlin and Herm Edwards. I think Herm Edwards still might be there. Not on payroll, just as a support piece for Antonio Pierce, helping him try to seize the moment. So that's going to pay big dividends moving forward. Know that. And that's facts. So, you know, Antonio Pierce is not out of the race. It's his job to lose. But at the end of the day, it's about just win, baby. It's about that commitment to excellence. And AP's shown that he could prove he could bring that to the table. He could bring it to the table. He's got to have the right staff, though. He's got to have the right staff. All right, man. Hey, let's just win, baby, tomorrow. Let's end the season by smacking the donkeys around. It's time to continue to put our presence in motion. Whether AP gets the return or not, we need to make our statement known. Period. Michael Guerrero, salute night, salute to you. Raiders 60, Donkeys 3. Let's relive that moment once again. Robert Torres, that's a solid opinion. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, Robert. I appreciate reading my question. No, dude, I appreciate you, brother, because all of our voices matter to each other. Does that make sense? Man, I wish Mark could give us a seat at the table, right? Robert, we go sit down right there with Mark and be like, hey, Mark, you got to think about all these things, man. All these things. In my opinion, I can say one more thing before we get out of here, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. But if we're going to change, organization needs to change first. We need that structure. We need accountability in the office. In the office. Mr. Toke took your soul. Salute. You here to take my soul, man? You didn't take it last time. Don't take it this time. Appreciate you, brother. Mr. Took Your Soul. Salute at Michael Guerrero for facts. All right, guys. Mr. Took Your Soul, appreciate you coming in. Robert, appreciate you being here. Appreciate you, Michael Guerrero. Much love, much respect. Lafayette was in the house. Fire Bro showed up. D. Nightwalker, Raider John, Robert Torres was in the house. We had Ray Gonzalez. We had Robert Pena. Let's see. I got to zoom this up. Me and my blind eyes. Eagletarian, if I said that right. 207. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for being here. Who else was up in the house? D. Nightwalker. I think I shouted you out already, bro. Just Win Baby Podcast. Thank you for finding the show. Go ahead and DM me, bro. That's fine. You guys can find me on Twitter under Night Live. And I can't say your name fully here. Mina Pan, I think is what it is. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Let's see. I want to get the music started one more time since we're still going with this. Let's see. I already shout out my boy Raider John. There it is. There's the music. Don't want too much dead air. Trying to be professional about this stuff. Micah Beasy, salute to you, man. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, bro. Just going back through the list, trying to make sure I give everybody some love. Raider Sway was in the house. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys hit that like button and the subscription button on the way out. Appreciate you guys, man. Robert Pena was in the house. J.O., I can't forget my boy J.O. in the house. Hey, the time is now, bro. The time is now for Mark Davis to finally change your mind a little bit. Just a little bit. You ain't going to fix it in one season, right? Raider Suede, thank you for your contributions. Pa Beats, appreciate you, bro. Let's go back. We got Ray. Ray was in the house. Robert Pena was in the house. Yeah, I think they got the show started, and I think that's where we were at. All right, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. Let's go get that last win. Let's get the 2024 real season on the way. Free agency, draft. But before that happens, we got to find ourselves a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, GM, maybe a football operations guy. I don't know what Mark's going to do. That's step one. So we'll be here to talk about it. And until then, stay Raider strong. Night out.